went in around,
Carry on.
yeah. So it was around 2017-18 when I went. And so Cranfield is a very different experience to what you would have in a London university. Like, if you're going expecting that, oh, it's going to be city life, party life, Cranfield is completely different. And I think once you graduate from Cranfield, you'll realize that it's much better than what you were expecting. So it's very different as compared to a city in a countryside college. And that's what's good about UK. You can, when you pick up your university, you can choose what kind you're looking for. So if you're looking for a countryside, you would go to like a Cranfield or a Nottingham or something like that. And a city would be more London, Manchester, and so on. So yeah, it depends on what kind of experience you're looking at. And almost all business schools are really good for marketing as well. So that's about the course itself. And marketing, there are a lot of jobs available. It depends on how you take it forward. So you can start applying for graduate programs, and you have internships and so on. So what I did was I was applying for graduate programs, and they're very competitive. I did not get through them because, and also we had a 4-month visa when we were there. So the post study, which is now 2 years, at that time it was just 4 months. But then I did get an internship in London, which was a decent internship. But yeah, there are a lot of opportunity in terms of internships and so on. And then even a lot of colleges, like our college, at least Cranfield, had a lot of guest lectures. So that's how you connect with people. You go back to them, you speak to them, that after your course is over, how can you join them and what you can do. So you can network with people while being in college as well. And then you can just take up an internship. If your college allows, you can take up an internship alongside as well. So that's how what I was doing. I did my internship. And then how I ended up doing a PhD was, I never imagined I'd do a PhD. But my course director from Cranfield moved to Trinity, and that's when I got in touch with him. And he said, okay, a good opportunity was available, a topic of my own choice, which was again towards marketing only. So I'm doing consumer behavior right now, and it just clicked as a good opportunity. And that's how I ended up doing a PhD. Because when you're in UK, you'll actually realize when you're studying there that what we thought PhD is, it's not just because you want to become a professor you go to PhD. It's nothing like that. Like, you'll get a lot of opportunities in the corporate sector as well after doing a PhD. So yeah, that's how I ended up from my master's to my PhD.
Oh, that's great. So, uh, as you said, like even a lot of people here have a misconception of that if you want to become a professor or you want a doctor title, you go for a PhD. So, I what stream are you thinking of taking after doing your PhD? Have you thought anything about it?
So my PhD is in marketing. I am studying consumer behavior towards artificial intelligence. So yeah, it's going to be, hopefully I'll be going into corporate world. I wouldn't be joining academia, but I still have a year to decide on that.
Oh, that's great. We have a question in the chat box that says that, hi Chetna, where did you do your internship? You said that you went on doing an internship in London. So which
So my internship was in a startup. It was called Save the High Street. It was sort of like a consultancy for a lot of like the small shops, like local shops in UK. So that's where I did my internship. So
okay.
the thing with UK is that there are a lot of opportunities, but you need to show them that you know the UK market. That's the problem with, like, especially in the field of marketing. They would prefer like a British or a European to hire because they feel they know the market. And you being Indian, you wouldn't know the market that well. So that's why you need to start with like small internships to keep showing them that you know the market. Like, you cannot be very picky that you don't want to do a field sales job. You'll have to do it so that you can show that you're well aware of it.
Okay. So, any tips on how to get an internship, or how did you go on? How did you find that internship? Was it through networking at Cranfield, or any professor, or the careers team at Cranfield help you out?
So careers team did help me out with a lot of other things. So, but this one was, I found out myself. Like, there are a lot of, like, of course, there are a lot of platforms that Cranfield careers team will be able to help you through. There's Indeed, there's there are a lot of them. I don't remember on top of my mind. So they'll help you with that. The careers team will also help you with a lot of interviewing, how to do interviews, how to do your exams, because they so a lot of jobs in UK are not just one level. There are about 6 to 7 levels. So there's a questionnaire, then there are three types of interviews, and it's a lot more than this competency based interviews. So the careers team would help you with that. But yeah, this one was just through, I think there was a website called Jobs at Startups or something like that. So that's how I got through this one.
Oh, and how long did you do this internship for?
So this was till my visa was there, which was about 4 months. So that's what, after 4 months the visa expires.
Oh yeah, so like as you said in the we have an added advantage of staying there for 2 years, like this year's batch at least, like after this.
Yeah, that's so that's going to be really helpful. Like, because I mean, in Dublin also I see people have that extra 2 years, and they have a really good advantage with that. So if you have a, even if you start with one internship, 2 months later you can shift to another internship. Like, you don't need that sponsorship, you don't have that extra headache of working with a company that can provide you with the sponsorship.
Okay, so even Ireland has the system of 1 plus 2. That's you get
Yeah,
a.
yeah.
Okay, okay, that's great. So we have a pre-prepared list of questions that are already there, and I'll be asking you them. And if you want to add on to any of that, you can just go ahead with that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, how is the job market for the marketing students post masters in the UK?
So that's what, as I said, like, there are a lot of opportunities, but it is a very competitive market, especially if it's your first time in the UK and you've not studied outside before, it's very competitive. But then again, because of the 2 year extra visa, it becomes quite easy. So, I mean, I don't know if a lot of you know about the graduate program schemes that are there in UK.
I think some of us know about it, but can you elaborate on the
So
graduate?
basically, it's like a post-masters job that you get. So it's like a 1 year or a 2 year contract, depending on the company you're working for. And a lot of good companies like your like all your big fours would have it, your PNG would have it, Coke would have it. Everybody has a graduate program. So the best thing is to get like a graduate program. Like, the thing problem with that is, so September your course starts, by November is the deadline. So you need to be like, as soon as you get there, you need to start applying for graduate programs, which a lot of people miss out on, because you're still adjusting, you're getting used to it, and you feel, oh, I have 1 year to get a job. So that's the issue with the graduate program. You need to be really fast with it. So that's one of the best way to get through. If you get through a graduate program, I think you're pretty much sorted. The other way is, again, to get through internships, start small internships. I think in your summer, when you go right now, you can work 20 hours a week, I think, which is going to be like odd jobs or part-time jobs that people take up. But then in your summer months and in your December months, you can do a 40 hour internship. So that would be a good opportunity that, in your June, July, you start working with a company, do an internship, or just try to make your dissertation, which is more company focused. So things like that, if you can start doing. And then, yeah, I mean, it's just more of showing the company that the market, you're not just a foreigner in the marketing base.
Okay, yeah, that's great. Okay, we have a question in the chat box from Vignan, and it says that hi, I have a PhD offer from Cranfield Robotics, but the department doesn't have funding and asked me to search. I did get a company to sponsor me, but due to the current pandemic and financial situations, they have asked me to wait. What do you suggest? Hold on to this offer or try for something else? And it's a UK based company is what he says.
So I think you can hold on to this. I mean, of course, don't leave it, because it's a good offer. You don't get sponsorship so easily. But in the meantime, keep also looking out for different opportunities, because there are a lot of. I mean, if you just go to UK Research Center websites, you'll find a lot of other funding options as well. And another thing is KTP program. Okay, so I think that's also for PhD and master students, everybody. So KTP is a knowledge transfer partnership program. So it's basically funded by the government of UK, and it's a partnership between a university and a company. So a company would come up with their project that, we need, like, it's going to be like a small company only, like a SME company, because they don't have the funds. So they're going to come to a college and say that, we need help with this research, can you do it? And then a student gets hired to do that research. So it's a post master's thing. It's another way to get a job. Now, the research project that you do, so you'll be hired by the college, but you'll be working for the company. That's how it works. So that KTP program that you're working on, you can convert that into a PhD, or you can just let it be a job. So that's another way to get your PhD funded or just get a job. You're on mute.
Yeah, sorry. I was saying that that's some information we didn't. I think quite a few people didn't know about. That's the KTP.
Yeah.
Yeah. So another question we can go ahead is, how did you decide that you wanted to go for a PhD? Like, was it
Uh,
beforehand? Had you always thought that you want to go for a PhD, or how did you get through it?
So when I was in Cranfield, I mean, like how I said, Cranfield is a very community-based college. I think they're maximum of what 3,000 students. It's just a postgraduate university. So by the end of the year, you pretty much know everybody by face, because you're literally stuck in like one area and you have nothing else to do. So you just end up meeting a lot of people. I mean, that initial, I remember my first week in Cranfield was very bad. Like it was just like where on earth you are, you don't know. It's in the middle of nowhere. There's no, like, you can't do anything once you're in Cranfield. So but then because of that, you end up meeting a lot of people. And that's how I ended up meeting a lot of PhD students in Cranfield. And you start understanding what PhD is. It's not the whole Indian conception of it and all of that. And but then I still never thought I'll do a PhD. It's just after I, s- I left London, I came back to Delhi, and I just had a very random conversation with my course director. So that's a good thing about UK. You are professors, you can always stay in touch with them. They'll guide you through a lot of things. So they'll always be there for you. So I was talking to my course director, and he had shifted to Trinity. So that's when he told me, oh, I was just telling him that I'm still figuring out what I want to do and all of that. And that's when he told me, this is a good opportunity. If you want to do, you can come here, try it out. Because with the PhD, how it works is that your first 1.5 year, you have an exit policy. So if you don't want to do it, you get a diploma. So it's like a win-win situation. You're not wasting on anything. So I
Okay.
thought I'll give it a try. And if I don't like it in 1 year, I can still get my diploma and get out. But yeah, I mean, it worked out for me. I quite liked it.
Okay, so this question is coming from me. I'm a bit curious. Many people, because they do an MSc, they plan
Yeah.
on doing a double masters, or like they want to specialize in dual degrees. So why did you choose a PhD over a master's? Had you thought about it, or you went for a PhD directly?
So I mean, I did think about it. I mean, I even thought of doing an MBA after that. So with the problem with the MBA was that you needed work X and all of that, which I did not even have that. For a double master, so the issue is that masters gets very competitive. Like they're, as compared to a PhD, master's jobs are more competitive than a PhD jobs. And I think I was still in the mindset that I want to do something more like with PhD, I'll have more opportunities later on. So I just thought I'll give this a try instead of a master's. And I mean, that time again, when I thought of doing a double master's, UK still did have the 4 month visa. So I knew it's going to be still an issue for me.
Okay.
Because what happens is that if you just in India coming back from UK and doing getting a job is slightly difficult.
Yeah,
So
because as
that's what I
you said, the market is already competitive for Indians. Going back to India and then
yeah.
getting in UK is
Yeah, so until unless you're like a top Ivy League, like an LBS or something, like you getting a job in India after UK would be difficult because the Indians. What I realize, Indian HR has this misconception that UK, whoever goes to UK to study is just going for the stamp. They're not really going to study. So until unless you come, I mean, if you've worked in UK for a year and then you come back to India, then it makes a lot of sense. Then they feel like, okay, you got a job, you did something, and now you're back here.
because I think the Indian market does not understand the reputation of the college in the UK and everything. So there's always a mindset gap, I feel.
Yeah, that's true. And they feel like, especially like if a lot of colleges, if you tell them, they're like, oh, yeah, rich, spoiled people go there just for a stamp and that's it. I mean, that's what I remember one of the HR, like of a really good company, asked me. She said, oh, who paid your fees? I said, I paid it. My dad paid it. So then she said, oh, because your dad's paying it, you're not going on loan. So you just went there for a stamp and now you're back because you didn't get a job.
Okay. That's
Yeah.
just
So yeah, so I mean that's what you just need to make sure, like, even if you're coming back to India, you have good grades, and you can show that your college has a good reputation. I mean, that time Cranfield, not a lot of Indians even knew about Cranfield at that time, I remember. So they just thought it's just any random college.
acha. Okay. We have one more question in the chat box which reads, I'm planning to make a career in teaching field. Can I do my teaching after my master's degree, or I should need a PhD for my teaching? If PhD is mandatory, how can I apply for it, and what all do I need to mention in my SOP?
Okay, so for teaching, I mean, you can get into it, but you wouldn't succeed after a point of time. Like, to get into the top colleges, to, become from a professor, assistant professor to a professor, and then to a lecturer. Like, that's how the hierarchy goes. You need to have a PhD. Like, it's just going to be always better progression if you have a PhD. And a lot of good colleges won't even hire you if you want. Like, if you're looking for teaching in colleges, universities, and not like school. So for school, I don't know, but if it's university teaching, then I would suggest you need a PhD. And PhD does not need an SOP; it needs a proposal. So what your study is going to be and what you want to do. So when you're doing your masters, your dissertation could be your PhD proposal. So it could be a mini version of what you want to do in your PhD. And that's how you could start progressing through it. So you can talk to your supervisor, tell him, I want to do a PhD, so your dissertation is going to be around that.
Okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. We have one more question that says, what are the basic skills that we should develop during the course in order to land a job? And can you shed some light about staying in the UK after the 2 years the visa is valid for? So, if you know anything about that, because I understand you're in Dublin right now and you might
Yeah.
not know a lot about the UK new system, but whatever you know, you can share it with us.
Yeah, so in terms of skills, like, when you're living outside, there's a lot of personal development that happens itself. Like, you start, you're more independent and, all of those things. And I would say, like, communication skills is the big thing. Like, talk to people, do your call, take your college presentations seriously. Don't just, go very lame like, very carefree and you don't care about it. Don't do all of that. Like, have your communication skills much better, because in a lot of interviews that's what they're looking out for. And so yeah, communication skills. And the second would be networking. Make sure somebody, a guest lecturer comes, make sure you add him on LinkedIn, you follow, send a, like, a thank you message and so on. Like, you'd that person, and that's person in touch with you. So I think communication and networking skills is like a major thing. And then yeah, I mean, just go with an open mind. You'll meet a lot of people. Don't just stick to like your own comfort, like get out of your comfort zone. Not like, I'm just going to talk to three Indians or I'm just going to talk to three Europeans. Don't do that. Be open, talk to people. You'll just end up realizing after like 8 9 months that you've grown as a person a lot. So yeah, that's about the skills. And then after 2 year visa, so what I would say, so if you're taking a graduate program or a KTP program, you wouldn't be on the 2 year visa. You'll directly get sponsorship. So that's how these two programs work. But if you're doing a normal regular internship and then a job, then try to look out for companies, like especially in your second year when you're working or you're doing an internship. So on the government website, UK government website, you'll get a list of companies that have the sponsorship license. So try to work with those companies so that after 2 years they can sponsor you, or at least have this conversation with your company in the mid stage, or when you're joining, depending on where you are in those 2 years, that will they be open to sponsoring or not. Like, make sure I mean, of course, don't have this conversation in the first interview, but when you're about to sign off your contract, just have this conversation, because a lot of companies don't have the license, and then they're not even willing to purchase the license. But then there's some companies that I know, like a lot of students, they got a job and the company really liked the student, so they were ready to even get the license for them. So just have that conversation with your employer for sure. And of course, I mean, it's just best that you pick up a company that already has the license. But then again, a lot of startups won't have it, so either speak to them if they're open to it or not.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, especially if you're in the mid stage and after 2 years you
Yeah.
realize that they might not sponsor me, you will be stuck all over again, even though having 2 years extra. So it will all go in a waste. Yeah,
Yeah,
that.
and just try, like, in those 2 years, you don't keep changing a lot of jobs. Like, you're there with one main, at least you spend like 8 to 9 months with one company. So that, the company also feels like, you've been there, they've invested their time on you and you know the work well. So they are also willing to sponsor you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We have one more question that says, compared to courses like MBA, business analytics, and other skill specific and niche courses, where does marketing management program stand, and how is the job market for marketing in UK?
Okay. So, I mean, see, MBA is a completely different league. It's not compared to any other master's course, like, because that's a more, you're going with WorkX, your job profile completely changes when you're doing an MBA. So that's completely gone. For business, see, marketing is also sort of like a specialization course. If you're doing masters in management, that's not a specialization. Marketing is a specialization masters that you're already doing, if you get the difference. Because in management you would do, so the course you're talking about is marketing management. It's a type of a marketing course itself. The non specialization is the masters in management, where you'll have one subject of supply chain, one finance, one marketing, and so on. So masters in management is like a mini MBA, like a basic version of an MBA. Okay, and then marketing is already a specific, a niche course that you have. And the job opportunity, there are a lot of opportunities again, but it just depends on how you start. Like, you cannot be picky about the jobs that you do. Like, you'll have to start from, if you're showing that you know the market. Like, I've seen, because I'm seeing in Ireland as well, like, people have to go to houses, sell electricity, like, because they want to show that we know the market well. We've done a sales job and now we're progressing to marketing. So there are a lot of opportunities, but you just need to make sure the employer is aware that you know the market very well.
Okay.
So also, when you're doing your college projects also, so I mean, in Cranfield, I know there are a lot of practical courses that you have. So your every course, every module has like a practical assignment related to it. So always try to pick up like a UK based company and then do your project on that. So that also adds up to your CV that you've worked on a UK company.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think that gives a good difference between all the type of courses that are available to people. Okay,
Yeah.
Joanne is asking, may I inquire for skilled workers visa? We would still require a company to sponsor. Is that right?
Yeah, so I think a workers visa is the one that you get after your 2 years. I think that's a sponsored visa. So yeah, for that you would still need a sponsorship, but then that's going to be after the 2 years that you require.
Okay,
But I mean, if you get a company who's ready to sponsor it in your first 6 months only, then that's amazing. That's great.
okay, okay. So Kevin is asking, I have heard that Indian universities will not allow to do PhD after a 1 year of MSc. But I think it is allowed in the UK and other countries, of course, because you're doing it. So, if you do a PhD in foreign countries after 1 year of MSc, will it be accepted by Indian universities, and can we apply for teaching positions in India? Do you have any knowledge?
Yeah. So I mean, to be honest, I'm not very well versed with that because I haven't seen India. So I mean, I don't know if you can do a PhD in India after 1 year master. That I'm completely out of it. But I'm sure you can apply for a job after doing PhD in a foreign university because you still have the PhD tag. Like, you're still a doctor at the end of the day. So I'm sure you can apply for jobs there.
Okay,
But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I know completely about it.
okay. Someone is asking, what about scholarships? So, I think they mean scholarships in general. Did you apply for a scholarship when you came to Cranfield, or were you looking for anything?
Yeah, so I mean, for master's scholarships, like I did have, Cranfield has a lot of scholarship options. So I was on one of these Cranfield scholarships. But you can just go to the British Embassy website, like study in UK or something like that, I think it's called. So you'll get like a huge long list of scholarships there. I mean, I think now probably it's a bit too late for people starting in September, but I mean, you never know, just something might click off.
Okay, yeah, sure. Shrishma is asking, how do we look at applying for jobs in Ireland? Can you give us some idea on how to apply? So I think she means in the context of if you've done an MSc in UK, then can you apply for jobs in Ireland or something?
I mean, you can apply, but then it's going to be very difficult. It's like, because you don't have the 2 year work visa, you have to get a sponsorship again. And then again, it's going to be about you're a completely new person, so you don't know the Irish market again.
Yeah.
So I mean, you can go to websites, you can apply for jobs, but then again, it's just going to be a difficult task to do it. Like, it's not going to be like an easy cakewalk as you would have in UK as compared, like, because you have the 2 year visa.
Okay. Um, which course is better in terms of UK market? Doing a generalized course like MSc Management or specialized course like MSc Marketing?
I think that's a very personal choice. If you're stuck up on marketing and you know that this is the field I want to go into, then of course take marketing. But then if you're open to like management and different, because management is not just going to be marketing and all, it's going to be a lot of other things as well, and you have more opportunities after that. But then it just depends on, it's a very personal choice, to be honest. Like, I preferred marketing over management because I wanted to have a specialization. I didn't want to be vague after that, so that's why I took a marketing. But I think it's a very personal choice. It's not about which is a better course, both are good. I mean, if you're comparing in Cranfield also, management has an internship, so it's good. Marketing does not have a internship, so it just weighs out what you're looking for and how you want to work it out. So it's a very personal opinion.
Okay. So I think the chat questions are over now. So we'll be moving on to the. Okay, wait. We have a new question. Um, what about fee structure for PhD in Cranfield? That I think they can check out the website.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. Yeah.
What about that in the college you're studying? So did you get any scholarships there? Or
Yeah, so I'm on a scholarship. So I'm on the business school scholarship. So what happens in business school? So that's what. So a PhD, there are different types of scholarships that you can get. So one is that you just get like a monthly stipend, and that's pretty much it. Then the second one is the one that I'm on. So the college pays your fees, and on top of it, it gives you like a monthly stipend
okay,
for your rent, your expensive, or like that's a fixed amount that you get. So you basically, you're not paying anything because your fees is paid by the college, and then your extra whatever expenditure, you get like a monthly stipend. Then another third type is that you're getting your fees is paid, you're getting a stipend, but you have to do a certain amount of teaching hours every week. So they
okay,
expect you to be a teaching assistant or something like that. So it just depends on what kind of scholarship you have. It could be also like a company sponsored PhD, so the company is paying you monthly. So it just completely depends.
okay, okay. That's great.
Yeah.
Uh, okay. There's a question that says, do we need sponsorship even if we have post-study work visa?
No, you don't. I mean, you don't need it for the first 2 years. After the 2 years, of course, you need it to stay back.
Okay. Cool. There's one question that says, will publishing a paper in a good journal increase my chances of getting a PhD? This is during MSc.
Yeah, I mean, of course, it would help, but it's not, to be very honest, it's not easy to publish a paper. Like, I mean, you can publish a paper during your MSc when you're doing your dissertation. So your dissertation could be a paper that you submit, your final thesis. But apart from that, I mean, you need to work really, really hard to make sure that you have a paper in a journal. But yeah, if you get it, then it's quite easy. And if you plan to do a PhD in the college that you're doing your master's in. So supposing you're studying in Cranfield and you want to do a continue PhD there only, like initially just make sure like in the first 6 months you have an idea of what you want to, why you want to do a PhD, like which topic you want to do a PhD on, so that you start building that rapport with the professor as well, so that later on You don't have to look for a professor, because PhD is not a course where you just enter. You need to have a supervisor to enter a PhD.
Okay.
So you don't waste a lot of time in looking for a supervisor.
Okay. Yeah, that's why your course director had moved there, and I.
Yeah, so for me it was easy. I mean, that's why I didn't even apply to any other place. I just applied to Trinity because I knew the supervisor, and that's how I got it. So that's the whole issue. That a lot of people spend a lot of time in finding a supervisor, because, of course, it's very important that you have a good supervisor. So, I mean, if it's the same college, then make sure that you keep that professor in loop, and you tell him that you would like to do a PhD, and he agrees on it.
Okay. I move on to the list of questions that we have. We have a lot of other people joining, so I just want to say, guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to put it in the chat box, and we'll take up your question. So, did the course at Cranfield help you understand that you wanted to pursue a PhD?
No.
Okay.
Because so the thing is that the course at Cranfield is a very practical course, to be honest. I mean, it's a very, like, hands-on practical course. So, you don't, it's very less of academy. Like, of course, you have readings to do and all of that, but then everything is related to a company. And probably I was not even in the mindset that I want to do a PhD, so I did not even take the course as it, like, as a academic research project. I took it as a more of a, like, a practical exposure that I wanted.
Yeah.
So I think it could also just be that my mindset was different. But then again, it was very, I think Cranfield course, at least the marketing course, is a very practical course.
Okay. Okay. So there were other factors that helped you think of a PhD, and
Yeah, so that's what I'm telling you. I did not think of a PhD till the time I was not back in India.
okay.
After my masters, when I was back in India, that's when I thought, okay, let's just give this a try.
Okay, yeah, that's great. So we have one new question that says, how are we supposed to choose the topic for our thesis? Does the faculty help us do it?
Yeah, so I mean that's what I'm just saying it from a Cranfield perspective. So in Cranfield, how it works is there's a pool of topics that they'll give out. So they'll give out probably like 60 topics, and they'll have supervisors linked to it. So if the supervisor's specialization is sales, then it'll be a thesis around that, or if it's consumer behavior, it'll be around that. And then from 60, you need to put your, I remember how the process went is you had to put your top three and your reason why you want to do this. So like a mini, like a 5 6 sentence statement of why you want to do it. And that's how they allocated you a topic from your top three.
Okay,
Or else there was another option that if you have your own uh, thing, like your own topic, you could come up with that as well.
okay, yeah.
So it just depends on, like, Cranfield does give you a lot of options.
Okay. So
Yeah.
like 60 is the wide option, like rather than it's a little bit confusing too, but if we get a
Yeah, so that's what I mean. I think so. I mean, I think 60. I'm just saying it, but there were about 30, 40 for sure. So, but then that's what It's just very easy. Like, I did not want to do sales topics, so five of them were completely out. So I knew that this professor is a specialization in sales, so this is completely out. This professor is good in luxury marketing, so I can take up these things. So it just depends. Like, and it's a very late in the stage, but then you'll have a lot of clarity of what kind of thesis you want to do.
yeah, and the course, I think the course that we learn and the practical knowledge that you're saying about, like we understand it so deep that I don't think it would be that confusing at the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not like they've just given you 30 topics. They've given you like one full page of the topic, like how it would look like, what you would be expected to do. It's like a full one-page document that they give you. And then I remember there was this one-day open center sort of a thing where all the supervisors were there, and you could go talk to them about the topic and then pick up your top three.
Yeah.
So it's not like just a list is given and you pick up top three. So you could read what is about it, you could go discuss what is it about it, and then finalize your topic.
Okay. We have a new question. What are the different technical skills required during the course?
So for, I mean, I'm guessing this is for MSc strategic marketing. Nothing. I mean, I think you're pretty good. Like, just know your Microsoft well, like your Word and all of those things very well. But you don't, because they teach you a lot of things. So they'll teach you. I mean, in our time they taught us three softwares. So that was SPSS, Jump, and there was another one, Nivo, Nvivo, sorry. It's like a qualitative research thing. So they'll keep teaching you a lot of software. So it's fine. You don't really need a lot of technical skills. And Cranfield itself has a lot of free classes for you. Like the IT department keeps doing like a Microsoft Excel class or a Word class or even like an SPSS class. So you can always sign up for that.
Oh yeah, that's great. So I have a lot of friends. Like, so I am from a college that has taught me big data analytics. So there are
Okay.
a lot of people who don't have any knowledge regarding big data,
Yeah.
for specifically for MSc strategic marketing. So a lot of people are worried that will they because they don't know, they don't have any background about it.
Yeah.
Will it be easy for them to catch up to it? So what do you think about
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be quite easy because I also had no background about it. So, they'll spend a good amount of time. They'll give you like a good handbook about the process on how to do it. So, I think SPSS comes. So, big data analytics is when they'll teach you Jump. JMP was the software. So, that's like good, whatever, 40 hours of the module just on the software. There's nothing else. So, every day learn a new thing about the software. And then your exams also, like, they'll give you a case study which you have to solve through the software, and it's going to be everything that you've already learned in those 40 hours. So it's very easy to do. And then for SPSS and NVivo, again, it's a completely different module that they have, the research methods module. It's just focused, like these modules are just made for you to learn the software and learn about the whole thing. So it's quite easy. Like if you don't have knowledge, it's very easy to follow. It's going to be, it's just very easy. Yeah.
it? Okay. Um, how is uni life at Cranfield apart from the classes?
Okay, so it's interest, it's very different, to be honest. Like it's a very different place to be. It's not, that's what I'm saying. Like if you think you're in London, you can go party every week, every day, you have movies to watch, you have this to do, all of that. You don't have that in Cranfield. So what Cranfield is, I mean, I don't know if you have been to Cranfield. It's a village, but then the university is 15 minutes away from the village.
Okay.
Okay. So it's literally in the middle of nowhere, because it has an airfield and all of that. So, it's completely like a barren land, and you have the university in the middle. So everyday life would be like, so it's a very rigorous course, like especially the business school courses are very rigorous. In fact, I think all the courses are very rigorous courses, because a lot of universities, you'll see there are 6 modules per I think there are 3 or 4 modules per semester, but Cranfield has 6 or 7 modules per semester. So weekdays are going to go like that, and you wouldn't realize that. But then when the weekend comes, because so imagine you're there, you have nothing to do. There are 2000 more students who have nothing to do there. So there's one bar, you'll start meeting people in that bar every day, every Friday. Okay. And there are a lot of kitchen parties that happen, a lot of pre parties before the bar, you go to the bar, there's a lot of after parties that happen. So it's a very community that you have. So like every week, if you go to the bar, you'll end up meeting 2 new people for sure. So that's
Okay.
what I'm saying. With an open mind, you'll meet a lot of people. So, it's really good that way. But then again, if you want like city life, you're missing that. London's what, 30 minutes away. So you could just take a train, go to London for the weekend. And because Cranfield is very centrally located, you have 30 minutes Oxford, you have 40 minutes Cambridge. There's so much to do on weekends in UK. Like, you can make day trips, you can make weekend trips. If you just need to plan it well, and then you can actually, your weekends are quite sorted of traveling and seeing places and everything. So yeah, it's quite a different experience. And it's now, because I'm in Dublin, I'm living in the city, and I have a different student life here, and I realize that, probably I prefer that community student life much better than what here it is right now. Because here, what's going to happen in normal cities, you have a group of 5 people every day, you'll be going around just with them. You
Yeah.
don't have that opportunity of meeting new people,
Yeah.
because you have so many extra things to do. Here you have an opportunity of meeting a lot of new people, which is really good. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's a nice, it's a good life, I would say. It's like something that you should definitely experience once. If you like it or not, that's separate. But yeah, you should definitely
Yeah,
experience.
so keeping an open mind and exploring as many things as possible will just broaden everyone's horizons, I feel.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, you initially, I would say, to be very honest, especially people who coming from cities like Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore, and all of that, it would be a bit difficult to adjust initially because you're not used to that slow paced life of not having anything to do. But then yeah, you'll just get used to it. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What about job market in UK post PhD? And the follow-up question to this is any pre-reads that are required?
Pre-reads for strategic marketing.
Uh, no, no. I think it's for PhD.
uh, Job markets, of course, there like.
I think they are okay. They are from two different people. Sorry. So one
Okay.
question is what is the job market in UK post PhD? And
Mhm.
I'll get back with the other question.
Okay. Yeah. So job market post PhD, first is of course you can get into academia, but then secondly you can go into consultancies. A lot of consultancies hire PhDs, like all your top McKinsey's, BCG's, Bain, everybody hires PhD. There are a lot of tech companies like Facebook, Google. So now if you see, a lot of these companies have specific positions for PhDs. So you have a lot of opportunities like that. So I mean, it depends of what field after PhD you want to go to. So even right now, if you just go to LinkedIn or any job portal and you try to find jobs for PhD, you'll get an idea of what your field jobs look like. But yeah, there are a lot of jobs just for PhD that are now focused.
Okay. So we have a nice big question. Okay. How is the scholarships awarded? I think this is regarding to the Cranfield University. What are the main factors that depend on the scholarship that Chetna ma'am has? The one which pays the fees and gives monthly stipend. Does that purely depend on our MSc grades or other factors like quality of thesis, etc.? If we are planning to do a PhD with scholarships like Chetna ma'am has, what all things should we take special care of during our MSc course?
Okay. Okay, so I'm not ma'am, please. I'm probably younger than a lot of people here. So, okay, so it dep how you get it. One second, let me just go back to it. So the factors that depend on getting the scholarship is basically you and your supervisor. Okay, and so when you that's what I'm saying, when you're looking at your MSc, it is your grades don't matter for a PhD. Of course your thesis topic matters, but then for example for me, my thesis topic and my PhD are completely different because that's what I didn't plan on doing a PhD. So they're completely different. But how they would select, so how your selection process is, it depends on your proposal, what you propose to do, your study. Like you have to make a research proposal for it, which is quite easy. I mean, in your masters you learn how to make a research proposal, so that's okay. So that's what, when you're doing your MSc, the thing you need to take care about is that your thesis is related to your PhD. So that saves you a lot of time. And in your interviews and all, you can say that you, like, even in your research proposal, you have something to show that you have done a bit of research on it and all of that. How scholarships are awarded is, it depends on where you are applying, what kind of scholarships are available with that college. Does your supervisor have any leverage on what scholarships are awarded? So that's, again, it's a very college specific thing, which college you're applying through. But then a lot of UK institutes also give scholarships. I mean, I know masters and PhD, probably more for PhDs, but then a lot of research centers would be giving you, like all the study in UK and all. So if you just go to these websites, you'll have get an idea of what's available for PhD scholarships, and then you can see if that scholarship is supported by your college or not.
Okay. So I think it's like more like you said, depending on the college. Does it also depend more on like your CV and the, I can't say personality traits because that's not, of course, shown in your CV, but something like uh, any leadership roles that you've had, or if you've been awarded something, does it depend on anything like that?
So I think I think there was one question about a paper if you've written. So of course, if you have papers that would really matter a lot, but then they understand that if you're just coming from your masters and you don't have a lot of experience, you wouldn't have a paper. But of course, if you have a paper, that would just increase the chances more. It all depends on what your research is. Basically, your research proposal has to be spot on for it,
Okay.
because there's no SOP that, of course, your CV, they're adding your CV, but then there's no SOP that they can judge you on. So it's going to be about your research proposal and then the interview that you do.
Okay. So that question, I'm coming back to that question, which I was a little bit confused on. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. It's regarding pre-reads for strategic marketing.
No, not really. I mean, I don't think you need to, like, just be like, if there's like a module you see and you don't know what that module completely mean, like you just have no idea what that means, probably just get an idea of what it is online or something. But then, yeah, you're pretty good. I mean, you don't really need any pre-reads or something. I mean, there's actually, I would suggest, there was this one book. It's by the Harvard Business Review. It's 10 must reads on strategic marketing. I mean, if you really want to read, you can just read that book.
10 must reads on strategic marketing. Yeah, I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah. One second. I think I might have that book. Just give me 1 second. I can just show you. 1 second.
Okay, cool. Guys, we will soon be coming to an end of the session. So if you have any more questions, please just.
It's this book.
Okay.
This is how it looks.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
After
I
the,
mean, if you really,
if you could just send me a picture of this book, I can pass it.
yes, I'll send it. Yeah, perfect. I'll do that. Yeah. But that's what I mean. There's nothing you want to read because they'll be giving you a lot of readings to do.
Yeah.
So, good.
Okay. We have one question. What will be the future of marketing sector in UK? If you can shed some light on that.
I mean, I don't know what the UK market is going to look like. I'm in the Irish market now. But yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be a lot of so retail's ending soon in UK now, like your in-store retail's ending, so it's everything's turning online now. And so it's going to be a lot of, like, chatbots, virtual reality, artificial intelligence. I think it's going to be a mix of all of that now. So yeah, probably that's what's going to be like. I mean, I think that's the world's future, what's going to be like.
I mean, there's always going to be a debate of online or offline, OTT or TV. So you can never
Yeah.
have a right answer for it, of course. Okay, so I think from the prerequisite questions that we had, I think we have answered most of it in the series of questions. Okay, we have a new question. I'll just take that up. What do you think the scope of part time is? I think that is while doing an MSc at Cranfield. So,
Yeah, so when you're doing an MSc, I mean, you can get a lot time. So if you're looking at part time and you really want to get money, it's very easy. Like, there are a lot of odd jobs that are available, and it's not like India that odd jobs are not respectable. They're very respectable. So if you're working in a grocery store, if you're working at a restaurant, at a cafe, like, just wiping off tables as well. So there are a lot of odd jobs that are available. You can work in McDonald's or anywhere. If you're in Cranfield, you have opportunities in Cranfield itself. So there's a grocery store, you can work there. There's a restaurant, you can serve there. So part-time jobs, in terms of odd jobs, I think that should not be difficult. And I think their minimum wage is also quite decent. So I think it's 10 or 11 pounds an hour or something like that. So even if you get to do 20 hours, you'll earn a decent amount of money. In terms of internships, that might be a bit tricky because not a lot of people are able to do part-time internships along with their masters. A, you don't have a lot of time, and B, a lot of internships are actually full-time internships rather than a part-time internship. So it's going to be like a very particular, with a very small startup, that you might be able to get it. But then again, it just depends if you have the time and if you can handle the two of them together.
okay. Yeah, so yeah, there are a lot of things available. It's of course not like India. So even if you don't land a part-time job in Cranfield, there will be a lot of other things that are available in the Cranfield village or the cities nearby. That's
Yeah,
Milton.
so I mean, you just have 15 minutes away. You have Milton Keynes, and you have Bedford, another 15 minutes away. So you can literally. I mean, people. That's what people used to do. I remember in Cranfield, like spend their 10 hours on Saturday, 10 hours on Sunday, just going to Milton Keynes and getting whatever, somebody was working in an ice cream parlor, somebody was working in an Indian kitchen or an Indian shop, something like you'll get a lot of jobs like that. It's not going to be difficult. And I mean, if you're in the city and you're not a Cranfield student, there are a lot of fun jobs as well. I remember one girl I knew in London, she was working as a dog walker and she was earning a lot of money with that. Like all she had to do is babysit a dog.
Okay.
So if you're a dog person, you'll get a lot of jobs like that as well. So it's pretty easy that way.
Okay. We have more questions coming up. Okay. Um, uh, what do you think are the prospects for settlement post studies in UK? Like, is it extremely difficult?
So your settlement, I think you need to spend 5 years on work visa in UK to get a residency. But I am not sure if your 2 years are included in those 5 years or not. So that is something I think you'll have to check. Like, for example, I know in Ireland, the 2 year work visa that you get is not included in your residency 5 years. So that's something you'll have to check. But I mean, it's not extremely difficult. Once you start getting your sponsorship, like your first sponsorship, as soon as you get it, your life becomes much easier because the company knows that some XYZ extra company had put in money on you. And obviously it's not like every year you're going to change a job. There's going to be some consistency. So you get your first sponsorship, stay in a company for 2 years, then get another sponsorship, do another 3 years with that, you'll just get your residency. So it's not extremely difficult. Yeah, but it's a bit challenging and it's competitive.
Okay. Yeah, because getting PR in a first world country is just difficult, especially
Yeah,
like,
I mean, that's what you just need to show that you've been working for 5 years in the country. So your student visa is definitely not counted. And I don't know about the 2 year extra visa that you have, if that's counted or not. That's something you guys will have to check. But yeah, I mean, 5 years working is what gives you the residency.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just join one of these, all these, immigration in UK, like Indians in UK, a lot of these Facebook and WhatsApp groups, I'm sure you'll find. And just keep a tab on them if you're really looking for residency. Like a lot of these groups exist.
Okay. Okay, so I think we'll take up the last question for this session, which is, can we get part-time jobs related to our course?
So that's what I said. Like, it's a bit difficult to get those. I mean, it depends on how exhaustive your course is. If it's very difficult, if it's a very busy course, then you might not even have that time. And then you need to find a company that's okay with a part-time job. Like, a lot of internships that also you see, they're like more of full-time internships.
Yeah.
They're very less part-time internships. So it's going to be very, you can work as a probably as a freelancer if your visa allows. I don't know if the visa allows. So if you get like a freelance and you're working something along with your course, or if you're working as a, like, you just find like a small startup who just needs a little help on the weekends, or something 2 hours a day type. So it's going to be very difficult to find that, to be honest. But then that's what the visa allows you to work. I think Christmas break, that's November, December, January, you can work full time. And then June, July, you can work full time. So you have 5 months and you can pick up full time internships then.
Yeah, I think more regarding, like, as you said, internships are generally full time, and if you do
Yeah.
freelancing, you might just increase a workload at some point, and then there's a little less workload at some point. So it
Yeah.
just depends on what you want to take up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, especially, I mean, I can tell you, Cranfield strategic marketing, you did not have time to do an internship. Like, definitely, you did not have that time.
Yeah, you mentioned that it's a rigorous course and there are a lot of fees and everything. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Last question. What about finding jobs related to our course after completion of our course? Is it difficult? So I think it's just the general question about finding a job in the marketing sector or whatever field you're in,
Yeah.
which
Yeah, I mean, that's what, it's not difficult, but it's again very competitive. You need to like, that's what, so I don't know how it works for finance or supply chain and all of that, to be honest. Like, I know for marketing, I don't think it happens with finance that much, as much it happens with marketing, that they need people who know the market. So finance is going to be a very common thing, I'm guessing, around the world, or sort of a thing. but then market is very specific to what the Britishers like, or what the Europeans like. It's very different to what the Indian market is. So that's why marketing gets a bit tricky. But then again, you keep doing your internships, you have 2 years to figure it out, you'll be good.
Okay. Yeah. That's perfect. I don't think we have any more questions. It was lovely, lovely speaking to you.
Thank you so much.
You gave a lot of insights on not just Cranfield, but marketing in general, and especially about PhD, which a lot of people are confused about. So that was amazing. I think our audience loved all the answers that you were giving, and it gave a very good perspective on everything. I'll just share your LinkedIn link on the chat box if anyone wants to connect to you personally.
Yeah, sure. I mean, feel free to contact and message whenever any help that you need.
Okay, yeah, I'll just mention the link in the chat box for everyone. And
Yeah.
yeah, it was
All
lovely.
right. Thank you.
Now,
Yes,
thank
thank you, everybody. All the best with your UK visit.
yeah, sure.
Yeah. All right.
Chetna. It
Thank
was
you.
very lovely talking to you.
Thank you so much.